Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner?
And so we're just going to kind of leave it there. So that was our victory. So,
So you more or less won the state fight because they didn't want to take it over.
right,
Okay.
right, right. And our job is to make sure that we're protected. Not saying they're doing it all perfectly. Nobody does,
Right.
especially a government organization. And the other things that the task force has done, we did testing in the park lakes and with the dioxins, which is a combination of just a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the first fish kill, I wasn't a part of that. That was going on prior to my
Said
coming.
what? The first what?
That the fish kill, the
Fish
first,
kill.
yeah, because they found dioxins in the fatty tissue of the fish.
Okay.
And it doesn't kill you, but if you have a low immunity system, it probably make you sick.
Okay.
But there were signs put up said you could catch the fish but don't eat it, and a lot of people
So you're
thought
talking about like when they fish in the pond at
Chickasaw.
Chickasaw, and
Mhm.
I don't know if they had any fish in the pond over at Shawnee, but at Chickasaw they catch the fish and they throw them back.
Yeah, yeah. And I think they're getting ready to redo that park down there again because I went down. I guess it's been a couple of months ago, and I said, it needs to be. We can't leave it the way it is. Of course, there's a lot of things, and I have to say this, and somebody probably get mad at me, but there's a lot of things that we have to take responsibility for ourselves. You know, and
Okay.
when you go to the pond, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at plastic cups and plates that are all thrown all in the pond. You know, we can't talk about how somebody's not doing something when we are throwing it in there. I don't think it's strangers that's thinking. I think I'll get up today and go and just throw some stuff in Chickasaw Lakes Pond.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No. Yeah.
so I'm told that they're supposed to be cleaning that up and redoing the park in itself, and so that's a good thing. And as long as
Wonderful.
people are doing something, we don't get involved because we've got too many other things. If somebody then
I want to say this to you. Wow. I appreciate and truly respect your fortitude and your go getter, and nothing's gonna stop me.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times that seems to be the problem. We get started and then we stop.
Right.
Somebody says no, and we accept it.
Hmm.
See,
Hmm.
you sound like me. I don't. Me and no don't really work well together.
Hmm.
So, but wow, girl, your fortitude. Look, getting on this Zoom tonight. If you had said one time, Janice, we done tried three different ways, because
Hmm.
I was saying as long as she sits here, I'm gonna sit here. But it's that kind of tenacity that you
Hmm.
have. And
Hmm.
that's you're one of those unsung heroes. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. Annie was telling me about uh, what was going on with the task force
Hmm.
and her involvement.
Hmm.
But to know that there was somebody like you doing what you were doing. Because
Hmm.
she said, oh no. She said, honey, you need to talk to Arnita. And I never knew. I never knew that this is what you did.
Hmm.
I didn't know that was your field of expertise, the management part.
Hmm.
But it's girl, you got down, didn't you? They
Well,
know they know your name, don't they?
well, yeah. But the one thing about the task force, and I try to be on so many committees because that keeps people knowing what we're doing, and then that we are part of change. And I actually the NAACP state environmental chair
Okay.
for, and so I wear two hats sometimes. The climate action plan, was the hat of the task force, but also NAACP simply because that's one of their charges is climate action.
Okay.
So there's so many things that are involved. People don't realize that it is not. when you say systematically or systemically, whichever you want to say it,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the location of the plants, and I have to caution people about the Rubber Town plants. They were not put there because Black people lived there, because those plants were put there in the early 40s.
Okay.
So you see, many Black people were not there in the,
Right. We
you know,
hadn't come west yet.
right, right. What we want to do, we want to make sure that we keep our credibility.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that what we say is correct. And if it is not right, we need to correct it, and we need to apologize for saying it. So, but and it was hard for many people because I need to have a reason to say they're polluting me. Well, yeah, we've got plenty of reasons, so you don't have to make up anything, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And but once the fight started in Frankfurt, many of the plants were telling their employees, we're going to have to close down if we have to do these regulations. You know how they go.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to get calls. I was all the threats. If I lose my job, you're gonna, blah. And I tell them, nah, you're not gonna lose your job.
Yeah, but
I
they'd
said,
rather stay and smell the bad air and work in the bad conditions and
right,
and eventually have these long-term illnesses that kill
right,
them,
right. And I,
but
I even explained I was on the radio, and this one gentleman called in, and I told him, I said, do you know who the first line of exposure is?
the first line of what?
Of exposure?
Exposure. Okay.
I said, it's you. You work in the plant. You're the
Mm-hmm.
first. So don't you think if we lower the emissions, guess who's going to be the first line
To
to
benefit from it.
benefit?
Yeah.
It's you. So I'm not doing this for somebody that you don't think you can relate to in West Louisville, because perhaps you don't live in West Louisville, you just work at the plant.
Right.
But we're helping you too, whether you like it or not. I said, it's one of those things where I'm going to love you whether you like it or not. I said, and that's what we're doing. The project actually was called the STAR, Strategic Toxic Air Regulation Project. And
Stars. Okay.
it's STAR. And because of that, um, I began to go, this was the only project of its kind that was actually uh, supported and started and run by a community group in the nation. It was only, especially in talking to the group with EPA, was that, first of all, find out who to blame. Make sure you got the right people to blame.
Okay. Right.
Argue with them. When was the last time you sat on your congressman's step, or your senator, or your representative? Find out who to blame. But let's talk about how we get out of marching around EPA and moving to getting somewhere. And
Right.
so that's from the 2005, 2000 up to the day. That STAR program has been around since 2005.
Okay.
And I went to when I left Louisville and went to Frankfurt. The Bashir, not this Bashir, his daddy,
All right.
asked me to come to Frankfurt to be the director of the Kentucky Environmental Quality Commission role. Now, what was important to me was to make sure that the task force stayed around, stayed live, and
Right.
because many people, well, what's happening? And look, I think they were happy. Was the task force gone? No. I had on my board, I had an environmental engineer, and he had retired. And I always, to make something valid, I want to make sure there was someone there that was more qualified than I was, because I didn't want him to have to try to figure out a time to make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he said he would take it over, so he did, and I stayed on the board. So we just kept going, and then we had other projects. Just like right now, we're working with the Black Leaf on Dixie Highway, which was a pesticide manufacturing. That's
Let me ask you this. You it's still going on today,
oh
the
yeah.
task force.
Hmm.
That's a wonderful thing.
Hmm.
Well, let me say this, Arnita, and I know you have uh, much more to tell me.
I could.
Look, you're not finished because you keep saying and so I said, because you stopped at 2005.
Mhm.
It's 2020. So you've got a gap that you can
It's
fill
a big
in. But what
gap.
I'd like to do is eventually this show, and what you're doing is kind of like the idea that I have for this show is to find some solutions, to get
Yeah.
some things done.
Hmm.
We find out what the problem is, then we need to find a way to fix them.
Right.
We need to find solutions. I want to find some solutions to racism.
Hmm.
We need to know about things such as the environment. And I don't know if, as Black folks, that we think about the environment that much, except when it affects us personally and we're coughing. And I heard some people have homes in the West that are boarded up. They don't ever let their windows up, things of that nature. I wouldn't sit out on my deck because when I found out that I had allergies, the allergies settled in my throat.
Hmm.
Now, that didn't
Hmm.
help me very much
Hmm.
because that
Hmm.
was how I make my living.
Hmm.
So the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner part is eventually this show is supposed to be on wave three.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so what I'm doing now is just getting my numbers together, my audience together, and sharing information with the community that they need to know. They need to hear some other voices that
Hmm.
know about some other things that are going on. We always get represented by some of the best and brightest, but not all of our best and brightest get that light on them. And I
Hmm.
wanted your voice to be heard. And wow, you have knocked my socks off. I mean, but you were doing something. Like you said, you just didn't want to fight to fight. It
Hmm.
sounded like to me you want to fight to win.
Right. Right.
And that's why you fight. You fight to win. And
Hmm.
um, we're very fortunate to have you. Man, wow. Thoroughbreds in the house.
Well,
I love it.
there were and one thing that really helped. We had an environmental reporter here at the Courier Journal named Jim Bruggers. I'll never, and I have to bring his
What's his
name.
name?
Bruggers, Bruggers, James Bruggers,
Brothers. Okay.
Bruggers, and and we talk about it, because he said, Arnita, you made me, and so I said, and you made us,
Wow.
because he was, first of all, he was an investigative reporter. He didn't just, he would do a whole page on what we were doing, or he won an award. He did a thing for USA Today. And he called me. He says, I want you to go get that USA Today. I said, because I wrote this article. I didn't realize it was 3 pages in USA Today. And he
Wow.
highlighted what we did here, and he highlighted me. Now that was a lot for me,
Yeah.
when he actually highlighted what I did. And so I told he made it. People in
Became committed to it as well.
That's right. And then not only that, with him talking about it, okay, then that was when everybody was still reading the paper.
Reading, I was going to say, because we
Read,
definitely had some newspaper readers in the
yeah,
city.
yeah. When people also brought about a lot of change. Louisville has really moved forward in environmental issues. A lot of people don't realize it. But things like they used to call, I forget what they call it now, but it was a project between the city, JCPS, the school system, and University of Louisville. And they came together. They called them the Three Kings or something. I don't know what the title was, but anyway,
Okay.
and that's where they were all, made up. And I'm just going to say one thing because I don't want to get all the other stuff. But they had decided all the paper they used had to be recycled. All of the vending machines were machines that only lit up when you walked up to them to get your stuff out.
Okay.
So there were projects like this that didn't happen until we began to come together on this air issue, and people became more viable, and working in different arenas.
Well,
So
you've done wonderful things. What I want to say is when we do this dinner part of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Because, see, this conversation was supposed to be held over dinner.
Oh,
But I want to say, if there's anything that comes up in the future that you want to share with me, feel free to do that.
all right.
This is not a one-time thing. This like, let me call Janice and tell her I need to be on the show. Just it's just gonna be just that easy. Because
Mhm,
I want other voices in the community that are doing other things.
mhm.
I'm glad that the kids are out there marching for us. I want us to find a way that they can stop killing our Black sisters and brothers.
Yes, yes.
Uh, this is a good and evil situation that we're dealing with.
Mhm, mhm.
And I won't even. I just. Some people then already sucked up all the air out of the universe. So I won't. I don't even use my air to say their name. But I
Mhm,
just want us to, as a community, see, just connect with each other on a whole bunch of different levels,
mhm, mhm,
because we need to be involved in the education fight, in the healthcare uh,
mhm.
inequality. We need to be involved, and there are lots and lots and lots, and I'm so proud of the voices that I've been coming across. And girlfriend, I'm here to tell you, like they say, Black girls rock. Arnita, Gadson, you rock.
I think we're stuck.
Well, that's okay. And so, on that note, because you're stuck, I'm going to say to our audience, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Arnita, I know you can still hear me. I've got about an hour worth of conversation. There you are.
Okay.
That I can probably edit. So this will be in two segments, but I'll send you the link.
Okay. Okay.
But take care of yourself. Be safe. Be
Okay.
well. And
Thank you.
and you can just holler, girl, because take care of yourself.
All right.
All right.
You too.
Thoroughbreds onward and upward.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's our motto. All right. Everybody else, I'll see you on Friday. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.